Welcome to the first in a series of how-to videos designed to help you share the gospel. In these videos, we will talk through different aspects of evangelism and how we might explain things to a non-Christian. One of the questions I ask all the time, and I think it's a worthwhile question, is to ask someone, what do you think happens after we die? And what I've found over a long experience is that a lot of people will look at me and say, nobody knows. It's too hard. How can we know? So how would you answer that question? I think there's a couple of things that might be helpful to ask the person. The first is to ask them, how are they sure that nobody knows? See, to say that nobody knows is to assert that I know everything there is to know. Let me explain. There's an old adage that says, there is no gold in China. For me to prove that statement true, I have to have absolute knowledge of everything in China. I need to go and dig up every bit of dirt. I need to check everyone's ears and fingers for jewelry. I need to check people's mouths for gold fillings. I need to have 100% of all knowledge of China. For you to prove the opposite, you only need to go to China and find one piece of gold. To say that there is no one that knows about the afterlife is really quite a bold statement. It presumes that you know everything that everyone else knows. The second thing that I've really found very helpful is to ask someone, what source of information would be sufficient to answer the question? And most of the time what you'll get from them is say, well, there isn't one. And I would actually say at this point, I would agree with you if all we are limited to is human experience. See, the problem with human experience is anyone I can talk to about the afterlife is still alive. They don't know by personal experience. And anyone I can talk to that's dead is probably not going to be answering me at this point. Human experience is a bit too limited for us to answer the question. But that said, there's billions of people worldwide believe that there is an afterlife. All of the major world religions believe in some sort of afterlife idea. And as much as they disagree on almost everything, they all would argue the reason they know what comes next is because that there's some sort of higher being who has told them what comes next. In other words, they are dependent on the idea of divine revelation. So if we actually had a source of divine revelation, then we could know what comes next. So as Christians, we clearly believe the Bible is just that source. But what might you explain to the non-Christian that you're chatting to? First, we would want to explain that it's very reasonable and rational to believe that there is a creator. And then secondly, we want to argue that of all the religious books out there in the world that tell us about the afterlife, one book in particular, the Bible, can prove that it is more than a man-made book, and therefore it is qualified to tell us about the afterlife, because God wrote the book and He knows. Now, those are both very big things we need to explain, and we'll talk about those in another video. I hope this encourages you to get out and ask people good questions so that you can share your faith with them. If this content is helpful to you, please like and subscribe these videos. And if you've got any questions that you would like answered, please stick those questions in the comments below and we'll try to answer some of them on future videos. Have a great time and go share your faith.